Welcome to part 4 of this 7-part series on how to become superhuman. My name is Ben Greenfield, and I'm the head coach of the Superhuman Coach Network, where we put together a global team of experts who are devoted to helping you achieve your goals as quickly, safely, and effectively as possible. In today's presentation, you're going to learn about gut health. Now, we devote an entire module and exam and a full month of the education process that we put coaches through to gut and gut health. And one of the more important components of gut health is what's called your gut flora, the probiotics in your stomach. The gut is exposed to the environment more than any other part of your body, including your skin. The surface area of the gut encounters more of the type of things that are getting thrown at you, from germs to toxins to chemicals to the foods that you're eating, more than anything else. And that's why it's very, very important that you set your gut up so that it has good bacteria and the right kind of bacteria in there to be able to help you out. Now, of course, you could go take a bunch of probiotic capsules, and I do travel with probiotic capsules because it's so hard to get fermented foods, natural sources of good bacteria, while I'm on an airplane or in an airport or perhaps in a different city. However, when at home, I eat a very large portion of my diet from fermented foods. And it is pretty easy to do once you get the hang of it. You're going to learn a few things in this presentation that are going to help you out quite a bit. I'm even going to teach you how to start into your first fermented food recipe, super easy way to make kimchi. Anyways, though, fermentation itself is a biological process where sugars that are in food, and you can think of sugars as anything from an actual sugar, like glucose in a food, to the actual carbohydrates in the food, like fiber, for example, soluble or insoluble fiber that might make up the cell wall of a plant, like cabbage. Anyways, though, these sugars like glucose and fructose and sucrose, they can get converted into cellular energy, and also a byproduct of cellular energy making called lactate. So in the same way that when you exercise, your body produces lactic acid, the cells of the plant, when they produce energy, also can produce lactate or lactic acid as a byproduct. Now, what happens is that can allow good bacteria that are in that fermented medium, whether it be vegetables or soybeans or whatever else that it is that you happen to be fermenting, that allows that good bacteria to flourish. And the other very, very cool thing that happens when you ferment food is it increases the vitamin content of the foods that you're eating. It increases your ability to absorb them, to utilize them when you eat them, and it increases enzyme production, meaning that the food literally pre-digests itself so that when it gets into your body, you digest it much more efficiently. So some common examples of fermented foods would include, and this is a list of foods that you may be very familiar with: yogurt, kefir, which is basically like a more liquid form of yogurt, although it happens to be higher in probiotics than most yogurts, kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha, which is a beverage that you can actually find at a lot of grocery stores these days. Unfortunately, many times it's pasteurized and full of a bunch of sugars, but you can find it, or you can make your own. It's very easy to make at home. Miso, which is fermented soy, or even pickles, which are fermented cucumbers. Now, pickles like kombucha, for example, if you just grab them off the shelf of your average grocery store, they've been pasteurized and heated to an extent where a lot of the good bacteria are dead. However, pickles that you were to say make on your own, it's super easy to do. If you've got a few cucumbers, that's about all you need. Cucumbers, some salt, some water, some vinegar. It's very easy to make a lot of these things. And fermentation, specifically what's called lactofermentation, which is the type of fermentation that I'm about to show you, is something that cultures have done for thousands of years. It's just something that, for example, for the past few decades in America, we've kind of forgotten how to do it. But that doesn't mean that you can't learn and that you can't begin, even on, say, like a Sunday night, to make yourself a batch of fermented food that you can dig into the rest of the week. So what I'm about to show you is a video in which my wife, Jessa, makes a batch of kimchi. Super easy to do, and I'm going to let you watch this video, and then I'll check back in after this video with a few other thoughts for you.
Hi, I'm Jessica Greenfield with the Inner Circle, and I'm going to show you how to make kimchi. It's an excellent snack and one of the most nutrient-rich foods you can possibly eat. So, that being said, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make. What I have here is I have 2 shredded Napa cabbages, and here I have 6 shredded carrots. I'm going to throw those in there with that. A cup of daikon radishes, 2 bunches of green onions, and you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, that's getting kind of full. It's okay, it's going to shrink down. We have 6 minced garlic, 2 tablespoons of grated ginger. Okay, then I'm going to put in some of the seasoning. This is chili powder. You can do chili flakes, it's whatever you prefer. I like to do 2 teaspoons of it in mine. It's however hot you like it. It is a spicy dish, but you can determine on how spicy you like that. So we got 2 teaspoons of chili powder, and then I got 8 tablespoons of whey. And you're probably like, well, we don't have whey just laying around the house. A couple places where you can get whey is by buying fresh mozzarella, the stuff that's in the liquid. That liquid it's in is whey. You can find whey in yogurt. It's generally that slimy stuff that is right on top of the yogurt is the whey. I make yogurt cheese, and so I have an abundance of whey. And someday I will show you how to make yogurt cheese. So here is 8 tablespoons of whey. And then you're going to do 2 tablespoons of salt, which I need to go grab. Sorry. Cooking dinner at the same time, simultaneous. Yes, I am a woman. I'm a good multitasker. So there's 1 tablespoon. And this, the salt and the whey, is what's going to preserve this dish. That's what is used, what people used to use back in the day, probably during your great-grandparents' time, to preserve their food. So, 2 tablespoons of that. Then we're going to carefully toss this. Doesn't need to, I'm actually going to use my hands. Make sure your hands are clean when you do this, because it's lacto fermentation that we're doing here, is what the term is called, and it's basically growing good bacteria. This is gonna really help you in your stomach and the digestion and the assimilation of all of your nutrients. It's one of the reasons why this is such a good food for you. This is excellent. Now, it doesn't need to be tossed like to perfection, but just get it going. Yes, see, I'm making a mess. It's okay. Everything can be cleaned. So next, there's a couple of options. You can either take a mallet and pound this down, and what will happen is the salt is going to draw the moisture out of the vegetables, because there's a lot of moisture in here. Or what I like to do is I just like to let it sit and let time do that for me, because I have lots of other things I can be doing while this is sitting, and the water will draw out itself. So it takes about, I would say, an hour, maybe 45 minutes for that to happen. And then when you come back, you're going to look in the very bottom, and there's going to be a lot of liquid at the bottom. And then I like to stir it all up, and then that's when I put it in my jar. And what I do is this makes a half gallon of kimchi. That seems like a lot of kimchi. If you want less than that, you can half this recipe, no big deal. So I have a half-gallon jar, and I'm going to put this all in my gallon jar. When it's in my half-gallon jar, I'm going to press this stuff down to the bottom. You want the liquid to cover this. That's important. Otherwise, you're going to get some ugly brown kimchi. So you want the liquid to be about an inch of liquid covering this. Then, after that, you're going to let it sit out on your counter for 3 days. Sounds like a long time. But remember, we got all this salt in here, and that's what's preserving it, and that's what's causing it not to rot. So, after 3 days, it goes to cold storage, which goes into your fridge. Or, like us, you could probably put it in your garage right now. It's cold enough outside. So, that's how you make kimchi, and it's ready to eat after 3 days. Really little amount of labor that goes into this, and you've got a very healthy food product here. If you buy this stuff in the store, it's probably pasteurized, and it no longer has the health benefits that this would have. So I hope you try this out. It's a really great recipe. If you have questions on it, leave them on the forum. I'll be happy to answer any questions or concerns you have about making this stuff. Enjoy the recipe. It's delicious. A half gallon's normally gone in a week at our house, so enjoy.
Well, as I mentioned, kimchi is just one example of a fermented food that you can make, but I'm hoping that kind of helped show you how easy it is to start doing this stuff yourself. And no, we don't spend hours in the kitchen every day slaving away making our own food, and that's really not part of becoming superhuman. That's a good way to waste some of your time, unless you have lots of time to kill. However, knowing just some of the basic concepts of fermented food, or even going out of your way at a good, natural, healthy grocery store to find fermented foods that haven't been heated and processed and canned, is a very good way to help out your gut bacteria and go above and beyond simply popping a few probiotic capsules. It's because those often don't have the full range of probiotics that you're going to get from introducing a wide variety of fermented foods into your diet. Now, here at superhumancoach.com, we train a global network of coaches to help teach you how to achieve your goals as quickly, safely, and effectively as possible. And that includes teaching our coaches about gut health and how to maximize your gut health. Now, if you want to work with one of our coaches or trainers to help you achieve your goals, whether you want to lose a few pounds or do an Ironman triathlon, or just make sure that your body is firing on all cylinders as good as it can, then visit superhumancoach.com and look for this insignia here where you can click to request a coach. We'll hook you up with a coach in your local area or a coach who's online, whichever you'd prefer, to help you achieve your goal. And if visiting superhumancoach.com is something you think you may not remember to do, just hit reply to the email where you clicked on the link to get access to this video, and we'll help you out. Just hit reply, tell us what you need, what you're looking for, and we'll hook you up with a coach no matter what your goals are. So until next time, I'm Ben Greenfield, signing out from superhumancoach.com. Have a great day.